I'm Lisa Diakova. I'm an artist in Wynwood. I've been here for 4 years, and I came from New York. And that's it. I'm a painter. So basically, my story is I've been painting all my life, creating all my life. I have a very creative family, but when I was going to college I studied English, and I was working at this psychology department and I had to change campuses at one point, and I said, well, I don't want to work in an office anymore, so what am I going to do? And I came up with this idea to start painting murals for local businesses. It's kind of how I just got started, and so I've been painting professionally for 15 years, but 7 years ago, I was in New York, and my mother got really sick, and they found a tumor in her brain. I was taking her to the doctor all the time, and we just had, you know, my life became about that basically. Day in and day out, we were going to clinics and getting checkups and therapy and all that. So during this time, I basically started sketching. And when I started sketching, my new work came out. So this is sort of like the style I'm working in now was a result of that period in my life. So I've built on it, I've grown from it, but it kind of stuck. It's the aesthetic that I kind of found just interesting. So. I think one of the most resounding themes that appears in my work is identity. So to some extent, all my work is about people. It's about people I see, people I meet. It's about myself. It's very intimate. At its core, it's always about identity and reflection. It's the way people see themselves. So sometimes people come in and they're like, oh, your characters are so sad, you know, this girl is this way. And some people see the work as being witty. Some people see it as being cute, you know, or pretty. So it's always fun to like just kind of talk to people. I think the work kind of affects them on a deeper, sort of quieter level, which is what I like, you know. So people come in and they open up to me without me having to say anything, and I think that's what I like in my life. That's kind of what I aim for in my life, to make people a little bit uncomfortable, to a sense, to get out of their comfort zone, to just express themselves, to be more honest, and I hope, and that's what I aim to do with my work as well. One of the first artists I liked was actually a Brazilian artist called Vic Muniz, and it has nothing to do with my work in a sense, but I really liked his use of illusions, and I thought, well, that's a good place to start, sort of, you know, kind of playing with the psychology of people when they approach your work. They think it's, you know, like a line drawing, and then it turns out it's a wire drawing, you know, or they think it's paint and it turns out it's chocolate, and I really like that about sort of his starting point. So that was one of my first like sort of breakthrough, I don't know, breakthrough moments with a modern artist. Classical artists, I would say Magritte and Van Gogh, but some of the more modern ones I like an artist called Travis Louis, Mark Ryden, Marion Peck. I don't necessarily consider my work illustration because I don't not trying to tell a story with the foreground and the background and anything, but I think, yeah, I get a lot of inspiration from the pop surrealism movement out in California. I left New York because I missed, I just kind of wanted space, and I wanted to see trees again and sky and the beach. So when I first moved down, it was kind of a honeymoon just with the landscape. But I had a little bit of a cultural shock, I think, leaving New York, just because Miami is relatively a small city, I think, in comparison. You know, there's a lot of stuff open late, but it's mostly clubs or bars. And whereas in New York, I would go out in the middle of the night and I could find like some underground theater or something, you know, something more cultural. And so part of me moving down here was hoping to kind of add to that, kind of add to the just the cultural movement of Miami. I was seeing that it was growing. It's a very different city than when I grew up here. So I just wanted to add to that. I want to be part of the art movement down here. And sometimes it gets frustrating because it feels like the culture hasn't caught up with what the artist movement is trying to do. But I think it's little by little it's happening, and we see more, you know, we see more people coming in, really accepting it, really wanting to be part of it. I see younger collectors coming around. So yeah, at first maybe a little bit of a shock, but it's getting good. I'm really feeling more comfortable in Miami now. So. I think I can feel that the city is making an effort to expand their art programs. I do find more opportunities, more grants being given, more investment into public art. So that's a nice sort of, you can feel that change happening. I think the city needs to step up more, and the people need to step up more to work with artists, to keep them here, to inspire them, to tell them, hey, look, it's, you know, we want you to create. But then artists need to come back and also say, okay, like this is what I'm here for, you know, rather than just creating product, basically, which I think is it's a dangerous situation to be in, to treat art as real estate all the time. The frames, I've had some made out in Peru. Some of them I just find, some of them I buy because I think they'll look good with a piece. So it's just kind of a up in the air sort of process for me. I'm just attracted to certain frames and I bring them in. Sometimes I don't frame the work, you know, and it looks fine that way, but yeah, I don't know, it gives it this otherworldly kind of finish to it, so I like it. I used to work in acrylic when I was doing commercial murals just because of drying times, it was faster, but I started working with oils like 7 years ago, And I think the quality of the paint itself is just so much better. It's like, for me, for what I do, it just, I don't know. I like layering a lot, so oils tend to just make it easier for me to layer and to also understand the work as it develops, whereas like acrylics dry too fast for my taste. I just can't, like, I feel like I can't develop it to the like, I can't develop the colors and the blending in the way that I want to. It's like it makes me decide things too quickly, you know, and I like to just kind of experiment. At least for now, I don't like anything that's too bright. I like antiquing my colors a little bit, so there's a lot of brownish shades to some extent. Like my yellows are a little browner, my reds are a little browner, and I just like that kind of sepia undertone to it. That's just me personally, you know. Sometimes I think a piece is going to be really bright and happy, and then once I get to painting it, it's like somehow those browns find their way in there, but people really like them too, so. So if you want to find more of my work, you can go to my website at Diakova.com, or find me on Instagram by the same name, or just Google me. That's it.
What?